Hello, and welcome to Nat Tunes, Episode 2. In today's episode, we will be talking about our favorite aardvark, Arthur. I don't think I've ever met anyone who's never heard of this show, so I'm not going to get into all that background information on this show. This show has way too many characters, but in a good way. You know, it's what kept it running for so long. You have, that I can name as main characters, you have Arthur, DW, Buster, Francine, Muffy, Binky, Sue Ellen, so many. Mr. Ratburn. Before getting started with this video, I wanted to give a really quick shout out to you all, because you've been so patient with me and so understanding with me already having to postpone it and being overwhelmed last week. So here I am, and hopefully I'm more on top of these weekly postings for you all. Now let's get into it. For a kids show, episode 1 of Arthur, titled Arthur's Eyes, starts off in a pretty creepy mood. You have a close-up on Arthur's house, and it's night outside, and all of a sudden a flashlight just shines outside of Arthur's bedroom door. And you have DW telling Arthur, wake up. And Arthur's like so irritated already. He's like, why? And she's like, shh. She takes him downstairs where there's this big photo album on the table, and she's trying to tell him, look, we have a long lost brother. And Arthur's like, where is this going? DW opens up the photo album that she was trying to lead Arthur to, and she's pointing at all these pictures that are clearly of Arthur and DW when they were much younger. And she's like, see?
I wonder where he went. Mom and Dad sold him or something.
Arthur takes this really quick pause, slightly frustratingly says, DW, that's me. And she's like, no, it's not. He's like, yes, it was. And she's like, you wear glasses. He's like, that was before I wore glasses. She gives the most ridiculous response, or most adorable response that a 4-year-old could give.
You were born with glasses.
The next line he says slowly transitions into the actual start of the show. And he says, you probably don't remember because you were 2 then. And you have the Arthur introduction title moving on to the show. These little introductory titles for every episode are always so cute to me. They end up reusing them and just changing the title every time. I always found it weird though how most of the time the little transition things in the title were never relevant to what the episode is going to be about. After the Arthur introduction episode title, we start off with a flashback to when Arthur was, I believe, in 2nd grade. Since the majority of the show, the cast is 3rd graders. Arthur doesn't have glasses, and he's having trouble reading the board for this quiz. And in his group, he has Buster and Francine and Jenna. He's like having trouble reading the board, asking Francine like so that he can write down the questions for the quiz. Arthur and Francine both got really frustrated. Arthur because he's having trouble seeing, and Francine because Arthur is bothering her. The next thing, you already see like the relationship, the slow little relationships of these friends starting to form, especially between Buster and Francine, because the next line that happens is like Arthur gets frustrated and he says, I have a headache. Obviously from not wearing glasses, to all my folks who wear glasses. Buster ends up saying,
yeah, sometimes Francine gives me a headache too.
In the next scene, all the kids are playing basketball during their PE time, and Arthur is obviously having a terrible time trying to play. He can't see the ball. He's squinting the entire time. Every now and then someone passes him the ball and he's missing, and everyone's making fun of him. And there's a part also where he gets to throw like the free throw shot. He misses big. He misses actually in a way where I don't I didn't. Maybe I've just always been really short, but when I miss at throwing my shots, I don't throw it over the hoop, like completely over that little square thing on the basketball thing. I like either hit on it, or it's lower than it. So for a third grader, he's got a pretty strong throw. And of course, after missing what looked like an easy shot, the kid's grown and are really disappointed. Well, all those on Arthur's team. And Francine makes a little comment insulting Arthur's game. Seeing already the first few minutes of this show reminds me of how much I disliked Francine as a kid. I think sometimes I probably liked her in the show. Right now, watching this as an adult, I definitely do not like Francine. She is very rude and not understanding and not patient. But to be fair, I'd say that's a good chunk of third graders. But this isn't about kids in general. This is about Francine. I think we'd all agree that no one liked Francine in Arthur. If you did, let me know. And let me know why. Scene transitions. And now we are in the nurse's office at the school. All the kids are taking their, I think, annual eye tests. I mean, we all did it, right? You did it. I did it. You probably ended up passing or failing. I definitely ended up failing. You have a few kids in the front before Arthur goes, reading the little eye chart. And for some reason, it looks like every time I see this scene, I think Binky might have needed glasses, because he just peeks over just to hear it. I mean, maybe he doesn't, but I mean, they never bring it up in the show. It just really surprises me how it looked like he cheated for the eye exam, and when it's his turn to read and he covers one eye, he says it so fast. He didn't even read it. Then it's little old Arthur's turn, and he has a terrible time trying to read the eye chart. Kids make fun of him because they think he's in trouble, and she puts him to the side and tells him to wait right there because he's gonna have to go to the eye doctor. Arthur and his parents end up going to the eye doctor, and Arthur sits in that chair where those big, I don't know what they're called, but you and I both know what I'm talking about. Those big thingies where they switch it out to see which one's your vision. And they're like, oh, what do you see? And he can't see anything. And then they put it a new one, and then he says, a giant worm. And the parents freak out. So they're like, what is he talking about? I'm so thrown off by it because I'm like, this scene is so random. Why'd they throw it in there? It just made me feel like this eye doctor was icky. Aren't you supposed to wipe your tools often? Anyway, the eye doctor cleans off the little worm thing that was on the little goggle thing to test Arthur's eyesight, and gently throws it out the window. She puts it back, and Arthur can see clearly. And she explains to Arthur, you just need glasses, man. Scene switches, and you have Arthur trying on different glasses. He's got these he first tries on these little aviators, and he's killing the look. He should have picked those. If I were him, I would have picked those. Maybe his insurance didn't cover it. They don't want to talk about that. They don't want to go too much into that, But man, if their insurance could cover that stuff. Anyway, after the aviators, Arthur tries on these awkwardly horizontally wide glasses. Then he tries on these really cool retro looking space-like glasses. Those didn't work for him. No. I mean, none of those worked for him. Then he notices his glasses, the iconic Arthur glasses. And he grabs them and he tries them on. And obviously he's killing it because it's the iconic look of Arthur that we know today. The way his parents hype him up though is so adorable. I can't tell if his dad's being sarcastic or not. I'm like, are you insulting my boy, Mr. Reed?
Those look wonderful, Arthur.
Very distinguished.
The family ends up in their car on the way home, and Arthur with his new glasses, which, by the way, when I have to pick out glasses up to this day, they don't fix that for me right away. I have to wait like weeks. I'm telling you, their insurance sounds nice. It sounds nice. So they're on their way home, and Arthur already gets to wear his new glasses, and he's pointing out so many things, and it reminds me of my first time when I got glasses. The difference is that Arthur ends up telling his parents, "Whoa, Mom, like, you have gray hairs in your head," and Mr. Reed gets the burn that he deserves.
Dad, have you always had those bags under your eyes?
Next scene, Arthur's like getting pretty shy with the fact that he's wearing glasses. He doesn't know how he or his classmates are really going to feel about it. And you have Francine already talking bad about my boy. You already know, no one likes Francine. Not in this episode, especially. And Binky, being so wholesome and so blinded, is like, "You look different." And Arthur's just frustrated. He thinks that everyone's messing with him, and he storms off. Arthur walks into class, and Francine's like following behind him, and she starts making fun of Arthur.
Hey, Buster, look! Arthur's a Four Eyes!
Buster backs up his best friend, as you should. As you should. Does the right thing. Until we skip over to the cafeteria, and it's so out of character, but Buster ends up making fun of Arthur.
Hey, you guys, look! I'm Arthur!
Arthur, with the appropriate response, just leaves. Just leaves. If I were him, though, I would have. He gets sad, and on his way out, Binky is like at a water fountain, and he pauses. He sees Arthur coming up, and he points out. Arthur still thinks that like Binky's messing with him, and Binky's just being wholesome. Like, he really doesn't notice. Arthur's on his way home from school, and he's really sad, and he's just like covering his face with his jacket, and DW notices, and she starts crying, and they pretty much just use the sound that they end up using for Kate all the time. And this also made me realize, like, as I'm going about this, like, if DW was 2 then the scenario that Arthur's talking about must have happened 2 years ago, and he was in 1st grade and not 2nd grade, as I've mentioned earlier. Now, like, the show takes place with DW being 4 and in preschool, and the kids being in 3rd grade. He goes inside his house, and little baby DW is crying, and his dad is like trying to check in on him, and Arthur is obviously very upset. He shouts at his dad to not talk to him. I was like, good, Arthur, tell him for his sarcasm back at the eye doctor.
Very distinguished.
That's what he deserves. Now Arthur's in his bedroom, and he's staring at himself in the mirror, and he decides to take off his glasses. And we start seeing things from Arthur's point of view, and things get very blurry. I, along with Arthur, from what I've noticed, because I was like, really, no one else has glasses in this episode? I was also like, I think the only kid in my grade when I got glasses. So Arthur decides to go outside and just slingshot his glasses away. Just doesn't want to know where they end up. And, it's a cartoon, but they they end up animating like the glasses to end up bouncing back in his room. Arthur's reaction when he sees his glasses is why I blame myself when I overreact. I know I use that exact same gasp, and I can tell you with 1,000% certainty that it is because of this. Right away, in his attempts to get rid of them, he just throws them out the window this time, and they bounce into Mr. Reed's pile of leaves that he's collecting, because he was working outside when Arthur was coming home, and he just puts them back inside the house when Arthur didn't realize it. And Arthur freaks out again when he sees that the glasses are still there on the counter. And his last attempt is trying with baby DW, and he tries to get her to break them, and of course that fails. His mom comes in, and is asking, what are you doing? And he's like, I was just taking them away. And she's like, be careful with that.
You wouldn't want them to get broken.
No, Mom.
Dang, even baby DW realized that he did her dirty. Now we have Arthur going back to school. When he arrives, he takes off his glasses right away and walks inside the school with Buster. His teacher asks him, where are your glasses? He's like, I don't need them. Lost them at home. I don't know. And his teacher's like, okay, hella sketch, whatever. Buster ends up asking him apart because he knows that Arthur was lying. That's his best bud. But he ends up asking him, why don't you just wear them? And Arthur's like, I don't need them. But if I were Arthur, I would say, because you and all these bratty ass friends keep making fun of me. Like, you were supposed to be my homeboy. Even you made fun of me. I don't know why Arthur's like so chill about it. I didn't see no apology from Buster. Nothing. So anyway, Arthur's like telling Buster, the boys' bathroom is the third door, right? Like on this hallway that they're in. He's like, yeah. It's like, see? I know this school. I don't need glasses. I got this. And Buster leaves, and you see the teachers come out of the teacher's lounge, which is like the first door on the way there. I don't know how Arthur could have messed that up. He still could have been fine and made it to the bathroom. But no, it's like, did you think your teachers just levitated there? Because he ends up counting 3 doors past the teachers. Like, why didn't you count that door that they were obviously coming out of? You think they came out of the wall? Anyways, he ends up counting 3 doors to the girls' restroom. So Arthur walks into the wrong restroom. He ends up walking into the girls' restroom where Muffy and Francine are just having a casual conversation in there. And Arthur freaks out. He's like, what are you guys doing here? And they're like, what are you doing here? This is the girls' bathroom. As like he's trying to leave, he gets bumped on. And this big group of girls like comes in. And now everyone's freaking out. And he's just like, get me out of here. And I'm like, why didn't you just turn around? Like, why are you standing? Like, they don't show it. They don't show what happened. I just thought it was really funny how hard it was for him to get out. And how all those girls managed to get out before him. He peeps his head out and everyone is staring. Like, there's this huge group of like kids who are confused or angry and the teachers who are angry. Scene shifts and Arthur decides to take the defeat. He tells himself, I guess I'm going to have to get used to being called Four Eyes. He gets really sad and turns on the TV. He turns on his TV and you have a Bionic Bunny documentary popping up. If you happen to forget what Bionic Bunny is, he is the superhero that Buster and Arthur share it's like a superhero that they both love. I think it's a big part of their friendship. He's watching this documentary all slump and feeling down. He notices that Bionic Bunny is wearing the glasses that Arthur has. And he gets really excited and it's so cute. Representation matters. Next scene, we have Arthur going to school and he's feeling so confident. Because he's like, I have the same glasses as my favorite celebrity. And Francine's trying to make him feel bad, and he's just like, hey, because he knows he looks good. One more scene of Binky being a goofball, and then he ends up realizing that Arthur has glasses. And Arthur's like, yep, that's the thing about me. And he calls him Four Eyes, and he starts laughing. But by this point, Arthur's unfazed by it because he knows about Bionic Bunny. And something that throws me off in this scene is this random rabbit that's next to Binky. They show him, I'm not sure, a lot throughout the first season or just in the first few episodes, but it just throws me off how they were trying to throw him in as a maybe casual reoccurring character, because I definitely don't remember seeing him in later episodes with the seasons that I grew up with. He's so irrelevant, and he's just there laughing with Binky, and Arthur just changes the subject. He's like, hey, did you know Wilbur Rabbit wears glasses? And Wilbur Rabbit is the actor who plays Bionic Bunny. Binky's like, oh yeah. Like, they just casually start talking about it. And Francine comes up and she's like, I didn't see that. And they're all just chatting about it. So now there's this small montage that is playing out in the order similarly to the beginning of Arthur's flashback, where you have the questions on the board, but this time Arthur's not asking Francine for help, obviously because he has glasses. And Francine tells him, you better not ask me for help. And Arthur's like, it's not gonna be a problem. I don't need your help. I got this. I'm the best. Pretty much. Then you got the basketball scene where previously Arthur was obviously very bad because he couldn't see, and now with the glasses, he's killing it. He's killing it. He makes it past Francine like nothing. Francine has no game. There, I said it. She might be the one that's very athletic, but I'm not seeing it in this scene. You guys are not proving that to me. Back to them receiving grades, and Arthur got all of them correct. Because he's a little king, and he did it. And Francine peeps over him, like, because he's all proud of himself. But she's like, Arthur, and she's wearing, like, these goofy glasses. She invites him to join her team, which, if I were him, I'd be like, no, you got no game. You suck, bro. Honestly. They end up pointing out her glasses, and he's like, you're wearing glasses? And she's like, yep. Notices that there's no frame in it, obviously, because they're big, goofy glasses. She has the audacity to be like, they make me feel like a movie star or a superstar or whatever. She's like, Wilbur Rabbit wears glasses, you know. I'm like, shut up, bro. Shut up. He's too cool. Arthur's too cool for his own good. Then the flashback ends, and we're back to the beginning of the pilot, which is Arthur and DW shining a flashlight over the family photo album that DW found. And he tells her, and that's the story of how I got my glasses. And he tells her, like, sound good? And she's like, I guess. It's not as interesting as have the possibility of having a long-lost brother. She's really bummed out. She really wanted a long-lost brother for some reason. That feeling of being bummed out, however, doesn't last very long. Because pretty soon, she switches on to this other family member that she starts seeing in the books. And is, like, tripping out over who that is. Before I go on, can I just say that the Reed parents were killing it in this photo. They look so groovy. I just wish people still dress like that to go clubbing. So DW like ends up saying about the photo, like, no, that can't be dad. Like, dad doesn't have a beard. Mom and dad must be divorced. And Arthur's like, oh, here we go again. She gets up and she goes running to the parents' room to like wake up her mom, just to go through the same thing over again. And Arthur's just trying to chase her down, but most likely he doesn't get to her. She probably makes it on time to wake up the parents, and they'll have their own story to share. Hello, folks. I just realized that in the process of editing this video, I totally forgot to mention the lessons of this episode. So number 1, don't be an asshole to your kids. Number 2, don't be a fake friend. And number 3, haters got no game. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your patience for letting me postpone this for a week. I will be back next week with another video for you. Let me know in the comments down below if there's any shows or specific episodes to either Arthur or 16 that you want me to talk about, and I will do that. Possibly. Most likely. Take advantage while I don't have that many followers right now.
Very distinguished.